Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America and Letitia James. Not so fast. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out and they help our channel continue to grow. Letitia James and James Comey, and these are two unique cases, but they both thought they were out of trouble last week when their cases got dismissed, thrown out of court. And they went on a little bit of a victory tour and bragging about it and feeling pretty strong. Well, as it turns out, the charges, because they were dismissed without prejudice, are about to be refiled against both of these evildoers, in my opinion, these ne'er-do-wells. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, especially for Letitia James, because I think she is a criminal. I think she's a genuinely bad person. James Comey's a different story. While I also think he's a bad person, the statute of limitations plays a very funny role here. Now, it was technically brought before the statute ran out. So, just being dismissed without prejudice, I believe, does give it extra time. But you'd have to, talk to a legal expert about that. But that's what I'm hearing from other legal experts. But it's much trickier. It's much dicier for Comey. I think absolutely Letitia James committed this crime. I believe she absolutely committed mortgage fraud after looking at the evidence I looked at. That's my opinion. And I haven't heard her defense. But my opinion, based on the evidence I've seen so far, and I don't care that she's a Democrat or whatever, I'm looking at it, and I'm telling you, I believe the evidence shows she committed willingly and knowingly committed mortgage fraud here. I want you to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
You both knew this morning. Sources telling CNN prosecutors will likely present new indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James to a grand jury. According to people familiar with the situation inside the Justice Department, it is expected to happen quickly, perhaps within a week. The court tossed out both the Comey and James cases. The judge found interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan did not have the legal authority of a prosecutor when the two were indicted. Joining us now is Tom Dupree, the former Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Thank you so much for being here this morning. All right, so given that the judge's ruling focused very closely on Lindsay Halligan's lack of lawful authority, not the substance of the indictments themselves, do you expect the new indictments could be different in any way or would be different in any way?
I don't think the new indictments will be that different, frankly. I'm not aware that the Justice Department has amassed new evidence that they would include in the indictment. I think from the Justice Department's perspective, and certainly as you note, from the perspective of the court, the sole flaw in the original indictments was simply that Halligan was unlawfully appointed. So I think from the Justice Department's perspective, and there's no indication they're planning on waving a white flag here, they're going to re-indict. I think the only thing they need to change, and they plan to change on those indictments, is the name of the prosecutor who signs it.
For the Comey case in particular, Comey's legal team is arguing that the indictment was void and therefore the clock has run out. Is there an issue of the statute of limitations in his particular case?
There sure is an issue here. And look, you'll recall that when the Justice Department filed that Comey indictment, they did so as the clock was ticking down to midnight. They literally had to file that indictment just days before the statute of limitations expired, which would mean it would be too late to charge Comey. Now they're going to have another problem because when they file that new indictment, Comey's lawyers, the first thing they're going to argue is to say, too late. The statute of limitations ran several months ago. This complaint is untimely. Now, look, the law is a little unclear on this, but I will say the Comey team does have one important thing in their favor, which is that the federal judge who declared Halligan's appointment unlawful has already said she thinks it's too late for them to re-indict Comey. She's not necessarily the final word on that question, but it is a pretty significant hurdle the Justice Department is going to have to surmount.
It's quite a big argument on the point of Comey, judging from what you just